Hello everyone and welcome to WhiskyWars and to the third video of this series. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top whiskies under £50. Now if you watched last week's video, that was my best whiskies under £40 and the week before was my best whiskies under £30. So today it's a little bit more pricey on the whiskies. I'm not going to be doing a best under 60, I'm just going to be doing a best over 50 for the final video of this series. So if you are enjoying the series so far, please do make sure to leave a like down below and please do consider clicking that subscribe button. That really helps out, thank you. These are under no particular order, I'll try and do them price order from the lower 40s to the high 40s. We're going to start off with the Porter Skag 8-year-old. Now this is bottled at 45.8%. It's non-chill filtered and has no added colour. It's an Islay whiskey, it's 8 years of age, and this really took me by surprise when I tried this one earlier in the year. This is quite similar to the Kalila, but more medicinal and a little bit more herbal as well. I really enjoyed the differences. For me, the nose and the taste, the flavours, it projected a little bit more out the glass. It was a little bit stronger, but still a soft and sweet Islay. Really, really nice. And actually, I could have gone for the Lagavulin 8, which I was thinking about including in this video, but I recently did a whiskey war against the Lagavulin, and spoiler alert, this one beat it. It's a really nice whiskey. So for me, the Porter Skag, now this is priced around that £44 mark in the UK. So yeah, kicking things off with the Porter Skag 8, a very nice, sweet, medicinal Islay. A lot of menthol though, you've got to like menthol. Okay, switching things up, we're going to move to the Speyside region of Scotland now, but it is still a peated one. And this has 3 cask finishes to it, and this is the Glendronach traditionally peated. Now, caution with this whiskey, it has received mixed reviews online. In fact, I'd say most people don't like it as much as I seem to. I really enjoy this whiskey. So it's finished in PX sherry, but also Oloroso sherry with an additional port wine cask finish. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed it. It's bottled at 48% as well. And this one's priced at around that £43 mark in the UK. So I think value for money, definitely. It's natural colour. The peat doesn't come across like an Islay peat at all. You're not going to get an earthy characteristic to the whiskey, but what that peat does is it obviously adds an element of smoke. But for me, I got tobacco leaf, like actual tobacco leaf, and I really enjoyed that with the jammy red fruits of the not only 2 different sherries but the port cask finish as well. It was a good one and I recommend it. Now for the third whiskey, we're going to hop over to Ireland now, and I actually have 2 Irish whiskies for you. First things first, we've got a Jameson. So coming from the Middleton distillery in Cork, where I lived for 3 years until recently, we have the Jameson pot still whiskey. Now this is bottled at 46%. I believe it's Jameson's first pot still or their only current pot still that they're selling. But with 5 cask maturations. So it's ex-bourbon, ex-sherry cask, but also I think it's 3 virgin oak casks, which are Irish, European and American virgin oak casks. And although I'm not blown away with this whiskey, it is a nice whiskey. Priced around the £43 mark, I don't think it's badly priced at all. Now there was a second Irish whiskey. I actually prefer this one a little bit more. It's also a pot still whiskey, but it's from Teeling. So this is the Teeling pot still, bottled again at 46%, non-chill filtered. And for me, I enjoyed the Teeling a little bit more because it came across a little bit sweeter. I got a really nice tropical fruit note in here that I don't really get in the Jameson. And for me, the flavours of this whiskey are a little bit nicer. Which one would I recommend? Because they're both priced around the same, around that £43–44 mark. I would say go for the Teeling. However, if you're in a duty free in Ireland going to the UK, which I know will not be many of you, go for the Jameson. Okay, let's go back to Scotland. for the 5th whiskey today, which, well, you've probably just seen it. This is the Ardbeg Anoa. Now, I could have gone for the Ardbeg 10-year. If you prefer the 10-year, it's going to be the 10-year today. But for me, I actually very slightly prefer the Anoa to the 10-year. And that's just because with Ardbeg, for whatever reason, PX Sherry and peat for me is, and the Glendronach traditionally peated has that as well. It's just a combination that is a real guilty pleasure of mine. I just really enjoy it. Also, the Anoa doesn't seem to get much hype from the Ardbeg range at all. It seems to be the least talked about. But I think it's slept on. I really enjoy the Anoa. I would say the price of the Anoa compared to their other whiskies is a little bit high, and I think that's why. Ardbeg should reduce the price of this whiskey a good £5, £6, £7, I think. And then it would be just an incredible whiskey. So the price on the Anoa is going to be roughly around that. It can vary from £42 to £46. I would personally like to see it around that £37, £38 mark, because they price it the same as the 10-year. So I understand why people go for the 10-year instead. For me, it's just that PX cask. Love it. Okay, now we're going to Campbelltown for the 6th whiskey, and that is going to be the Kilkerran 12-year. Now, I was tempted to go for the Campbelltown Lock. However, this has recently dropped down into the 40s now. So this is around 47, 48, 49 pounds. So this and the next 2 whiskies just get into this video because they're really at that top end. But I think 12 years of age for a Campbelltown whiskey in today's day and age, it represents value for money. This is bottled at 46%, and to me, this whiskey gives a lovely, you get that Campbelltown oil, of course, but I get a lovely vanilla shortbread with a little bit of that dirty oiliness of Campbelltown, what it's famous for, but it's not too strong actually. It's not like a Springbank, you don't really get that strength, but it does provide a little bit of a dirtiness to this quite pleasant and inoffensive whiskey, which is vanilla, shortbread cookie, a little bit of icing sugar. It's quite light and sweet, but also biscuity with a little bit of that oiliness. It's a really nice one. The final 2, I've gone for 2 cask strengths now. One from Scotland and one from America. Let's start with America. This whiskey needs no introduction. If you haven't tried this whiskey, I really, really recommend that you do, especially if you like bourbon. Although if you like bourbon, you've probably already tried it. This is going to be the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. It's barrel proof at 58.4% ABV. For me, this is a huge step up from the 101. The 101, one of the best value for money bourbons out there. The Rare Breed just steps that up. Now, I actually bought this whiskey for around £33 in the UK 3 years ago. Can't get it for that now. It's now close to that £50 mark. This is £49 on today's market. All these whiskies I've priced on today, what it is today in the UK, £49. So it just creeps in. What a wonderfully complex bourbon with a really thick mouthfeel as well. Actually, one of my favourite whiskies of all time, certainly one of my favourite ones here today. Really recommend it. And finally, we're going to go for a peated island whiskey in Scotland, and this is one that I think is slept on too. I do preach about it because I really enjoy it, but it's not as complex as most cask strength whiskies. Maybe that's why it doesn't get the hype. I think it's a fairly simple cask strength actually in many ways, but there's this beautiful mineral note on this whiskey. It's very lightly peated. It's not a heavy peater, it's 20 ppm. Lightly peated, but with this beautiful mineral note. It gives me salty sea rocks. That's what I get on this whiskey personally. A little bit of like an icing sugar. It's a lightly peated, sweet, minerally whiskey. The Macklemore cask strength. Now, many of you know I do not like the standard Macklemore, the non-age stated one at 46%. I've yet to try the 10-year, that could be a lot better, but I really like this cask strength. They've since had a change of design on their bottling. It's now more the rare breed size than this tall and thin one, but a whiskey I really recommend. Okay guys, that concludes this video, my best whiskies under £50. If you did enjoy the video, please click a like on the video and don't forget to click that subscribe button. Still on the journey to 1,000 subscribers, so please, if you haven't clicked subscribe, please consider doing so. What are my top whiskies under £50? We have the Porter Skag 8-year-old, the Glendronach traditionally peated, the Jameson pot still, the Teeling pot still, the Ardbeg Noah, but you could choose the 10, I'm easy with either, the Kilkerran 12, the Wild Turkey Rare Breed, and the Macklemore Cask Strength. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you also to my Patreon members. I really appreciate your help and support. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all for the next Whiskey War.